Don't you just love the CRTC, that jolly government agency that endeavors to regulate the TV and radio business? And just what is the most pressing issue for the CRTC these days, folks? Well, Chairman Jean-Pierre Blais says the Super Bowl broadcast this Sunday is an event that Canadians must see unaltered, meaning that the Canadian broadcaster, CTV, can no longer substitute Canadian ads in place of American commercials. Apparently, it is the God-given right of all Canadians to see non-simulcast broadcasts. However, this inexplicable CRTC decision has generated outrage. CTV stands to lose millions of ad revenue dollars, and the network has already laid off some staff. The NFL is frothing mad too, taking its complaint about the CRT decision all the way to President Trump. CTV and the NFL have every right to be livid. That's because the CRTC has no mandate to interfere with a valid business decision that was struck between a private broadcaster and a professional sports league. After all, those U.S. Super Bowl commercials are produced by Americans to sell stuff to Americans in the United States of America. Heck, some of the stuff being advertised, such as the Carl's Jr. restaurant chain, that's not even available in Canada. Now, beyond the sports entertainment spectacle that is the Super Bowl, the NFL is first and foremost a business. That's why it arranges broadcast rights deals with other countries, including Canada. And the NFL has every right to do so. Now look, full disclosure, I love the grandiose commercials that are part of a U.S. Super Bowl telecast, given that so much of the Canadian ad creative can be direct by way of comparison. But do I have some sort of constitutional right to see U.S. ads on a Canadian television network? No. Alas, the CRTC apparently disagrees. Broadcasting's version of Big Brother thinks it's in the public interest for Canadians to see the U.S. feed unaltered. Really? Note to the CRTC, all those U.S. ads have been available to Canadians for years now via that little thingy called the Internet. The fact is that since the early 70s, Canadian broadcasters have purchased U.S. network shows with the right to substitute U.S. commercials for Canadian ads. These simulcast commercials are reportedly worth about $200 million in annual advertising revenue to Canadian broadcasters. But if this CRTC edict survives a court challenge, Canadian broadcasters will be kicked to the curb. This is especially worrisome for broadcasters given that ad revenues are already in decline. Then again, does the CRTC really care about the needs and wants of Canadians and Canadian broadcasters? Case in point, many of us working here at Rebel Media, including of course our founder and fearless leader Ezra Levent, are refugees from the Sun News Network. A few years ago, Sun News applied for a license that would allow it to stay on the air, a license that was similar to what several other broadcasters had, some of which had nowhere near the amount of Canadian content as Sun News. After all, Sun News employed more than 150 Canadians. It was owned by a Quebec company with its main studio in Toronto and bureaus all across Canada. We reported on Canadian stories to a Canadian audience, and we offered a different viewpoint compared to all of our left-leaning competitors, including the CBC, which receives more than $1 billion in taxpayer-funded welfare every year. But after Sun News made its submission, the CRTC said no. No valid reason was given, mind you. The CRTC doesn't have to provide a reason after all. But given the political bent of Sun News and the political sensibilities of Canada's broadcast Big Brother, I think we all know the real reason why Sun News was kicked to the curb. But with its most recent decision regarding the Super Bowl broadcast, a legitimate business deal between a Canadian broadcaster and a U.S. sports league has been put through the bureaucratic shredder because it's a matter of public interest. Methinks the CRTC is on thin ice with this bonehead move, and a question arises in light of this decision. Is there really a valid need anymore for the CRTC? I say in for a penny, in for a pound. Let's move toward open skies. Let's allow the marketplace, not a bunch of Ottawa bureaucrats, to sort things out. And let's toss the CRTC on the scrap heap of obsolescence where it belongs. For the Rebel.media, I'm David the Menzoid Menzies. Like what you just saw? Then click subscribe below and never miss another Rebel video.